KFI AM 640. You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly. On demand on the iHeartRadio app.
Mo and Tawala are off tonight and Monday. Mark Rahner sitting in with Tiffany Hobbs. And Mo and Tawala, by the way, are they're on a cruise, which Tawala, it's a little bit of a stretch, I understand, for Tawala, because like me, he is deathly terrified of deep water. So I was hoping that we would hear from Mo tonight. I was hoping that we would get some maybe footage of Tawala vomiting over the side of the boat. But in lieu of that, let's just keep moving here. Mo makes interviews a regular feature of the show. So tonight I'm doing one. And sue me if I'm a little more nostalgic driven than Mo. But like he says, host privilege. Tonight, I want to welcome the legendary Burt Ward, who you know as Robin from the 1966 Batman series that did nothing short of change all pop culture around the world. And in his grown-up civilian identity, Burt is a hero to dogs. He runs Gentle Giant Dog Food. Here is his official introduction. I'm going to read this, then we're going to get right to the conversation. Burt Ward, the original Robin from the Batman TV series, and his wife Tracy have rescued more than 15,500 dogs and hundreds of cats in the last 30 years. And they created Gentle Giant's natural non-GMO ingredients pet food to help all precious pets live longer and healthier. Dogs eating Gentle Giant's natural non-GMO ingredients dog and puppy food and following Gentle Giant's special feeding and care program are living as long as 30 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. They have also created Gentle Giant's natural non-GMO ingredients cat and kitten food to help cats live long, healthy, active lives too. Learn more at GentleGiantsDogFood.com and GentleGiantsPetProducts.com. Burt, it means the world to me that you are here tonight.
Hello, citizen.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a little emotional right now. I can't tell you how much it means to get to talk to you. I still have a photo that you signed for me when I was like 7 years old at a Kmart in Spokane, Washington. And it boggles my mind how many of these things you must have done over the last half century. Signings, conventions. Do you still do a lot of that stuff?
Well, I did over 7,000 personal appearances and signed more than 8.5 million autographs. So that's a lot of autographing.
Oh, my God. I can't even conceive of that. So they've got to have run the range from, like, I remember when I met you as a child, it was a winter and kind of a cricket situation. I think it was the only one there. But at the same time, you guys were like Beatles in the 60s. You have had to have situations where it's like Tom Jones panty throwing deals, right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I would say that we had an enormous audience on Batman when we aired on January 12th, 1966. There were more than 400 million people that first week and subsequent weeks that watched Batman. We had a 55 share, meaning that of all the televisions on in North America, that's Mexico, the U.S., and Canada, that 55% were watching Batman.
That's incomprehensible now. Most people don't understand that doesn't exist in today's fragmented TV environment. Nobody has gotten a 55 share in most people's lifetimes at this point.
You're right. And not only that, but even Super Bowl doesn't get that kind of a share. So, and you know, the whole Batman thing, it was such a wonderful show. There was something for everybody. For kids, it was the hero worship. I mean, who wouldn't want to be riding in the Batmobile, chasing heinous villains, climbing walls, all of that, right? Who wouldn't want to do that? And yet for the adults, it was the nostalgia of the comic book. And for the teenagers and the college kids, that was a period in the 60s when, hey, they didn't even want to watch television. They wanted to cruise around the Friday and Saturday nights, you know, the outdoor restaurants and stuff like that. But we pulled them in because of our campy style. We used to say that we put on our tights to put on the world.
Yeah, I don't think people generally understand that the show means different things to people of different ages and at different ages. I, of course, loved it when it was in reruns. I wasn't able to see it when it was first run, but when I was a 3, 4, 5-year-old kid, of course, I loved it. But then later on, as an adult, I saw just the brilliance of the humor, and I spend a lot of time trying to explain to people here just how brilliant the show was, how it actually saved the Batman comics, how it's its own hilarious thing, and all these dark, serious Batman movies and shows, they can coexist with Batman 66. What's your perception of all that over the years as it's sort of waxed and waned and waxed again?
Well, let me just tell you, if it wasn't for our Batman, I'm not sure you'd have all these superhero movies.
That's exactly right.
And, you know, there's one thing that a lot of people don't know. It really kind of sophisticated, that is in every superhero movie and in every action movie made today, something that Adam and I started back in 1966. And let me tell you what it is. There was a particular scene in a warehouse. We were looking for the Joker. And all of a sudden, out of the blue here, all these like 8 different villains, henchmen showed up, and they want to fight with us. And, it's very threatening, right? So I had this line to Batman. I said, gosh, Batman, there's 8 of them against 2 of us. Odds in our favor.
I honestly don't think that you get enough credit for how hilariously funny you were on the show and what a really gifted comic actor you were. I think it was taken for granted more than it should have been. I mean, when I see your delivery at things like, Robin, when is a door not a door? And you say, when it's a jar. Nobody could have done that like you.
It was a lot of fun doing it. But what I had just said, in terms of, you can look at today's movies, all action movies, right in the middle of the most dangerous parts, there's always a moment where the 2 leads will turn to the other and have some comic thing where they say something funny to break, the energy, and yet then go back. So it's something that is used in all of feature films today, that what we ended up creating back in 1966.
I am going to go even further than that and suggest that there is a straight line between what you guys did in Batman 66 and the Deadpool movies that are so popular right now. And I think you were ahead of your time. Have you thought about that?
Yes, and it's wonderful. Look, let me tell you, what we did was great family entertainment. What Warner Brothers has done with the superheroes and Marvel has done, it's fabulous as well. I mean, there's room for everybody. They do love action films, and they love heroes. And the whole concept of entertainment is something that you want to escape. It's bigger than life. It's something that we all can feel, even in our own world, if you know what I mean.
I do. We're going to go to a break right now. And when we come back, we're going to talk about your pet food and a couple other Burt Ward Robin items. I'm talking to the legendary Burt Ward. It's KFI AM 640.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Mark Rahner in for Mo Kelly, and I want to get right back to this. Every second counts. We have the legendary Burt Ward from Batman on the line. Burt, you still with me?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to get to your pet food in just a second, but before we do that, I just have to know, when Batman was at its absolute peak, what was your life like?
Busy. Listen, it was filming 5 days a week, 11 to 12 hours a day, in a costume that wasn't terribly comfortable, climbing walls, fighting villains. Very dangerous filming back in those days. Not quite the same as it is today. And on weekends, making appearances. It was like 7 days a week. But I had a lot of fun, and we made a lot of people happy. And we always did things in a positive way. Even when we made our personal appearances, there would be some people say, "Oh, take off your mask." Oh, no. When Batman, Adam West, and myself were in costume, we were in character. We preserved it for kids. So it was always something that all the parents loved to bring their kids. We had a great time. It was a fun show. I mean, this made so many people happy.
It certainly made me happy. And we hear things like Don Adams basing his Guest Smart character on, I think it was William Powell. Was there anyone's influence at all that we can hear in you as Robin, if you told us, anyone who inspired you?
Well, here's the interesting thing. Growing up, I always wanted to be a superhero. Mm-hmm. And as a 3-year-old child, my mother took photos of me on my tricycle riding around with a bath towel held together with a clothespin. I mean, it was something that I daydreamed about. So when I had the opportunity to do it, the reason I was selected, there was 1,100 young actors that tried out, and the executive producer told me after I was selected that the reason they picked me, they said, if there really was a Robin like forgetting television. What if there really was a Robin? They said, you personally, Burt, would be it. So we don't want you to, quote, act. We want you to do just two things. Be yourself and be enthusiastic. Well, that's pretty easy for me to do. That's what I did for 120 episodes.
Well, you will always be my Robin. Now, for some time, you've been making and selling your own specialty dog food. Tell me about that. What led to that?
Okay, 30 years ago, in August of 1994, my wife and I rescued a Great Dane. We found out that other Great Danes were being put to death in shelters because there was no rescue for them. And I said to my wife, Tracy, in the first week of August 1994, I said, we can't let these dogs die. How about just for a couple of weeks till we can find somebody else take this over? Let's rescue them. By the end of August, we had in our house 102 Great Danes and 61 puppies under 7 weeks of age.
Wow.
Okay? Because they were all being put to death, and we saved every one. Well, here it is, like 30 years later, I haven't found anybody to take over the rescue. But here's the key thing. This is our charity. My wife and I don't take any salary from this. And because we love dogs, and we've actually made it our life's work, we have found a way to help them live longer. Giant breed dogs, particularly, only live 6 to 8 years or 7 to 9 years.
That's right.
Other breeds usually live only 10 or 12 years. We have found a way to make all dogs have a chance to live as long as 30 years. We created, after spending actually millions of dollars, we created a special food and a special way to care for dogs. And right now, throughout the United States and Canada, more than 100,000 dogs every day eat our Gentle Giants dog food. It's for all breeds, all ages, from the youngest puppies to the oldest seniors. Here at our house right now, I've got 5 dogs that are over 20 years of age.
My God.
We have a customer in Phoenix. His dog on January 3rd of 2025 will be 31 years old eating our food. And you say, well, how can you do that? Well, let me tell you in a nutshell. Here's how we can do it. For any of your listeners who have dogs, here's a quick suggestion. Go pick up some of the food you're feeding. Doesn't matter if it's the cheapest food or the most expensive. Pick up those kibbles, rub them in your fingers, put them down, rub your fingers together. You're going to feel a greasy feeling. That's animal fat that was sprayed onto the food and filling the food to make dogs eat more, to make you buy more dog food. Well, that is terrible. We believe it's killing dogs. And why do I say that? Because you wouldn't, if you cook bacon, would you take the grease and pour it down your garbage disposal? Of course not. It would clog it. Well, think of all the dogs whose arteries and intestines are clogged with animal fat. Okay, and so we don't do that. Our food is incredibly healthy, non-GMO. That's another thing. You know, in the U.S., our food now, our food supply is more than 90% genetically modified to accept pesticides in the food. You know, when a farmer grows a plant and pests and bugs attack it, he sprays with pesticide, half the time it kills the plant. But with GMOs in it, the plant lives. And unfortunately, the plant absorbs the pesticide. Your dog eats the food, fruits, vegetables, meat, whatever it is, and your dog ends up getting cancer. I mean, our dogs, and this is absolutely true, in 30 years, we've had more than 15,500 dogs here, and less than a dozen had cancer.
Burt, I don't think a lot of people understand when they see the store-bought pet food just how lousy and full of garbage it is, and how good quality, pure food can give pets a new lease on life. I had a cat for 18 years, and it was on death's door a handful of times. And when I started feeding the cat raw food that was kind of expensive, it brought her back to life.
Absolutely. But what we've done is we've found a way, not just the food, but it's how you feed the dogs. We feed dogs differently. We feed our dogs a minimum of 5 times a day, smaller, more frequent meals. Why do you do that? Because their bodies wear out faster if they have to digest only 2 meals a day. There's so much technology in our thing. And by the way, our food is Gentle Giants. I'd like to mention that those that want it here in Southern California, they could go to any Stater Brothers Market, Ralph's, Gelson's. They could go to any Petco. We're in 1,500 Petcos across the country, and they can order it online. You know, Petco, Chewy.com, you know, all of the other majors. Plus for cats as well. We lost 2 cats recently. One was 31 years old and one was 32 years old. You can't do that with regular pet food. And our food is so healthy. It is the cleanest, and it's our charity. We take no salary from this because we want everybody to be able to afford a food to help them keep their dog or cat years longer.
That's incredible. And just tell people one more time where they can go online to check out everything about Gentle Giant.
They can go to GentleGiantsDogFood.com, GentleGiantsCatFood.com, or GentleGiantsPetProducts.com. And you know, there's so many testimonials. We have thousands of testimonials on Facebook and other places where people, their dogs were near death. Their vets told them nothing more can be done, and they came back on our food because it's pure, it's natural nutrition, and it's our charity. Again, we want everybody's dog and cat to live the longest, healthiest life possible. This is our life's work. And by the way, quick thing, we got 4 awards on April 28th. 2 from the President of the United States, the President's Volunteer Service Award for having rescued more than 15,500 dogs, and the President's Lifetime Achievement Award for having created this special food and a special feeding and care program that now almost all of our dogs here are living twice their normal lifespan with no illness. Our dogs are so healthy, the only time they go to a veterinarian is every 3 years for a rabies update. No illness.
Good on you for that. Good on you for that. That is so terrific. Burt, we're up against the clock. Before you go, can I get a holy something from you? Holy mediocre radio host, holy sad nerd, holy incel something?
Holy superhero host. Wowie zowie, Mark. You're the greatest.
That was worth the whole thing right there. Burt Ward, I cannot tell you how much it means to have you as my first guest. I appreciate it. Hope I talk to you again. Take care.
Thank you. As we said on Batman, to the Batmobile.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Movies, TV, and pop culture, Rahner Report with Mark Rahner.
Now on Nature with Mo Kelly, Mark talks about movies and TV, pontificates about pop culture, Rahner Report with Mark Rahner. Mark Rahner right
Rahner Report with Mark Rahner.
It's Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. I'm Mark Rahner. It's the Rahner Report. And a couple vastly different things this week. First, Terminator Zero on Netflix. Here's a bit of the trailer, and it's pretty visual, and radio is more of a non-visual medium. So I'm going to give you a little color commentary while the clip plays, and we're going to cut it off because I think it gets a little gnarly about halfway through. Vicious dog. Unstoppable Terminator killing people with automatic weapons. Terminator's face half off. Army of robots marching.
In a sea of uncertainty. Only one thing is
Brutal
clear.
Terminator violence against humans.
Things will get worse.
Truck ramming a Terminator over a bridge.
They get better.
Still not gonna kill him.
I need to stop Judgment Day.
Terminator with a crossbow popping out of his arm. We haven't seen that
You
before.
can stay and die, or you can come with me.
Comply or die.
Comply or die. Seems reasonable. Terminator Zero is an 8-part animated series, and I don't watch a lot of animated movies or shows. You know why? Because I'm an adult. Go ahead, Foosh. Okay, that's a joke I like running into the ground and taunting people like Tawala with, but anime creators in Japan have always understood that you can make any kind of animated movie, tell any kind of story, and it doesn't have to be for kids. In fact, plenty of it can be pretty hardcore, and this Terminator show definitely can be. There is some violence that goes hard in this. It's, in fact, I wish more of the movies in the Terminator series had been this entertaining instead of just feeling like they keep going back to the well over and over and over because they haven't quite extracted all the money they can from Terminator fans. Arnold needs some new Hummers and a humidor. Back to work. The truth is, Terminator's kind of like the Alien series to me. The first one was a milestone. The second one upped the ante and was a bigger, different kind of classic in its own right. Both classics. And then there's the rest. About the most you could say is they had some good stuff in them, but generally ranged from uneven to just outright code browns. Can you even name all of them? If you've seen them all, Tiffany, you win nothing. There was Terminator 3, Rise of the something or others, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, Genisys, which irritates me. That's an irritating spelling. Terminator Dark Fate, which is that the one where they brought back Linda Hamilton?
I think so.
Okay.
I have no idea.
And then you had a 2008 TV series with Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. And I got to tell you, of all these, that one wasn't that bad, believe it or not. T-Zero, set in Japan in 1997 before Judgment Day. Pretty familiar premise. You heard it. Come with me if you want to live or something along those lines. But it's nicely executed. Pardon me. A Terminator is sent back to kill a scientist who's developing an AI called Kokoro to compete with the Skynet that we all know and kill the scientist's children. And a female fighter sent back to stop the killing, kind of a female Kyle Reese. This one gets right down to business with a minimum of cheese, plenty of tension, and some fairly jarring violence. Full disclosure, I was friends with Harlan Ellison, who sued James Cameron for ripping off a couple of his Outer Limits stories for the Terminator, allegedly. Episodes called Soldier and Demon with a Glass Hand. They're streaming. You can find them. Episodes of the old black and white Outer Limits, both excellent stories about time travel and saving the human race. That is why you see the acknowledgement added at the end of the first Terminator movie. Ellison got some money too, but he never told me how much. But he was always good about picking up a check. By the way, Ellison wrote another modern classic about computers all linking up, becoming sentient, and killing off nearly all humanity. It's called, and I'm not making this up, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. One of the all-time great titles. The super mega computer in this story keeps the last handful of humans alive so it can torture and taunt them. If you've never read it, you're in for a treat. A sick treat, but it beats the hell out of that Westworld show. Now, it struck me watching Terminator Zero that we're a lot closer to that terrifying Skynet future now, because back in 1984, the Terminator was an unstoppable killing machine who might as well have been Michael Myers from Halloween or the student loan people. But now we've got AI starting to put people out of work, actors and writers going on strike to stop that. We've got autonomous cars, as well as a mole for big autonomous car working right here on this show, Tuwala Sharp. I'll say this, as scary as the Terminator robots in the movies are, at least they're not cranking out screenplays. Terminator Zero has some big timers doing voices. Timothy Olyphant voices the Terminator. You'll also hear Rosario Dawson, Andre Holland, Sonoya Mizuno, who may not be familiar to non-nerds, but she's going to be nerd royalty soon. She's in House of the Dragon. She was in Alex Garland's Devs series and Ex Machina. I'll admit, I am not a huge fan of the animation, which looks like a mix of that traditional Speed Racer style and some computer-generated stuff all swapped in together. But T-Zero is the most watchable entry since T2, which reminds me, I also hate Siri. Oh, crap, did I just activate a bunch of them? Sorry. Tell her to stop Judgment Day from coming. And finally, Kevin Costner's Horizon is on HBO/Max now after being a huge flop in theaters. It cost $100 million for Chapter 1, and it's only made about a third of that back in theaters. Sorry, that's Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1 of 4. Chapter 2 should be premiering at the Venice Film Festival, which just started. Chapter 3 is reportedly filming. 4 is in development. Honestly, a 3-hour Western in theaters when we're still in a pandemic was kind of a big ask. And whether it's a vanity project or a visionary work of art that would make John Ford cry, I guess we won't know until we've seen it all the way to the end. But I admire the nerve and the ambition of Kevin Costner for making this. He doesn't show up until an hour into the movie, and by the end of the 3 hours, we barely know anything about him. And there's not really even a story in this first movie so much as the beginning of one. So I can't say it's fully satisfying, but it is 100% worth seeing, especially if you do love those John Ford, John Wayne movies, or if you liked Lonesome Dove, How the West Was Won, those big sprawling epics. It is just beautifully photographed, lots of battles well staged, big cast of characters. I want to see where it all goes, and I think it's important to support big swings like this from artists, in part to encourage actual artists to give us more than the usual movie commerce that we're fed. I mean, listen, I like Marvel movies as much as anyone else, but I'd also like a little variety on the menu, you know? Another thing this movie gets right is that it looks so realistic that I constantly kept wondering how bad everyone smelled. We forget how much indoor plumbing changed life for everyone. These were not people who showered every morning or every week or month. And whatever their pooping arrangement was, I'd like to be spared any depictions of it. Also, if this Horizon movie boosts the career of Jeff Fahey and his glorious facial hair, it'll all be worth everything it cost. That's right. I buried the lead. Fahey, the lawnmower man, is in this. Tiffany, have you ever watched a Western in your life?
I have. I grew up watching Westerns with my mother on Turner Classic Movies, I believe, and whatever was on television before television went off.
I don't know that they're for everybody, but if you grew up on them, this is going to hit all the buttons for you. Terminator. You mentioned to me that it was today's Judgment Day, or yesterday was Judgment Day.
So there's a bit of a controversy thinking of Skynet. Skynet may be today where Skynet becomes self-aware, or it may be 1997. I'm not fully sure. I was trying to look it up quickly off air, but many online are saying that August 29th, 2024 is when Skynet becomes self-aware.
Well, I guess we better be ready for it. Time to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the poltergeist house that just sold.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Mark Rahner in for Mo. Mo and Tuwala are off on a cruise. Hopefully just well in their cups by now. But you don't think just because Mo's gone, we're not going to have Name That Cult Movie Classic. If you want to get in line, call up and play. Here's the number, 800-520-1531. 800-520-1531.
Four.
Wait a minute. 3. I wrote it down wrong. Okay, scratch that because I wasn't wearing my glasses when I copied down the movie because I'm too vain to walk around in the building with glasses. 800-520-1534. Is that right, Foosh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
There's pizza in the building.
We were bound to hit some sort of glitch tonight. I'm glad that that's all it's been so far.
Live radio.
1-800-520-1534. We will give you some kind of Mo Kelly swag. It will be unspecified. It'll be a surprise, a grab bag. It could be a keychain of Later with Mo Kelly. It could be a Mo Kelly mug. That's right. You could drink out of Mo's head. Or it could be something else, but you'll get some sort of swag. We'll take down your name and your stuff, and you will receive an item. But before we go to that, real quickly, the Poltergeist house sold. The Poltergeist house from the 1982 Tobe Hooper horror movie that everyone has seen. What, Tiffany, have you seen Poltergeist?
I have. I saw it as a child. I saw it as an adult, and equally scary both times.
Did it really scare you?
I won't say it scared me. It creeped me out because you start to think about your TV coming alive in the middle of the night, that type of thing.
It sold less than 3 weeks after it was placed on the market. It was listed for sale for the first time in 45 years. The agent said, although much of the house has been updated, some of the rooms would still be familiar to fans of the movie, including the kitchen and family room. No word about the pool where all the corpses were. The house was originally listed at $1,174,999, and it reportedly received several offers. We don't know what the final negotiated price was. But my question to the crew is, Tiffany, would you live in that house?
That price seems relatively low, compared to specs in the neighborhood and homes around California, Los Angeles. I think if I were offered that home, yes, I would. I would be a little nervous at some point, but you quickly get over that when you realize you're getting a good deal.
Well, it's also just a movie house. It's not like a real murder house. Foosh, would you?
I think I might. I'd be a little nervous at first, but yeah, considering the price, yeah.
I think that housing is so expensive right now that I would live in the Bates Motel if it was under $2,300 a month for a 2-bedroom. Andrew, what about you?
No, No.
You don't want to give it, even though it's just a movie house.
You know what? All of LA that's listening right now, just like me, I don't need no bad juju following me around. Movie house or no movie house.
I got to tell you, I am priced out of ever in my life owning a house in the Los Angeles area. So I think if the Amityville house, where real stuff actually did happen, if that came on the market, and if it was here in LA, and there was a good deal on that, I'd have to consider it. I'll tell you, I read the Amityville book when I was quite young in my grandparents' basement in Spokane. And here's the setup. The basement, you go down a flight of stairs. There's a long hallway with rooms that go off. And then there's my bedroom at the end of the hallway. And there's no light switch at the end of the hallway. There's only the light switch at the top of the stairs. So I turn the lights off and I feel my way down to my bedroom and I read the Amityville horror book. And it scares the hell out of me when I'm a kid, but I can't go back upstairs now because the light's at the top of the stairs and I just have to stay downstairs and eat it all night. What I'm telling you is I would live in the Amityville house if there was a good deal on it.
Okay, there is another house in Los Angeles. It goes by the moniker Murder House. So you had actually coined the Poltergeist house as such, but it's not that. And the Murder House was used for filming an American Horror Story and Murder, She Wrote. And Buffy. Yeah, Murder, She Wrote. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, all these things. That house is like 5 stories, all brick on the outside with these really dark, small windows. It kind of looks like a castle. It's very Gothic in style. That one I would not live in, no matter.
You couldn't pay me to spend the night in the Queen Mary.
Listen, slap a coat of paint on it and Febreze it, and I'm going to call it good because otherwise I have no hope of ever owning a house in this area. Things are so expensive now. I know that realtors have to tell you now if there has been a killing in a house.
They do.
And I'm genuinely curious if people are sort of doing that whole Jack Benny cheapskate, your money or your life thing when they find out about this, because what normal person can afford $900 for an average size house? You got to be doing the math in your head like, well, okay, I guess if there's a presence here, can they chip in for utilities?
Right.
I don't know. Let me give you the number one more time. We're going to play Name That Cult Movie Classic when we come back. The number, I'm going to get it right this time, 800-520-1534. If you get through, you're going to get something. We just don't know what it is. It'll be some Mo Kelly swag. Name That Cult Movie Classic coming up right after this break. Mark Rahner in for Mo Kelly on KFI, AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart app.
You've been listening to Later with Mo Kelly. You can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeart Radio app.